Picture this scenario. You represent the model American household. You have worked tirelessly and finally reached the holy grail of success, a six-figure income. In the 1990s, that number was synonymous with wealth, a sprawling house, and 2 cars in the driveway. But today, when you take that pay stub to a viewing for a dated 1,000 square foot bungalow in the suburbs, a grim reality sets in. With mortgage rates hovering around 7% and prices skyrocketing, the monthly payment threatens to devour 50% of your income before you even buy groceries. That cold feeling running down your spine isn't just disappointment, it is the terrifying realization that even though you won the wage race, you have already lost the housing war. That feeling of helplessness is not unique to you. The red warning light on the global economy isn't flashing anymore, it has officially burned out. For decades, we operated on a social contract where 3 years of hard work could buy you a home. That contract is dead. A new global study of 95 major metropolitan markets just confirmed what you likely already feel. Not a single one, 0, is considered affordable. We have now entered a new era that economists are calling impossibly unaffordable. This isn't a market cycle. This is a controlled demolition of the middle class, and it is creating a permanent renter caste. What you are facing isn't just high prices, it is a structural shift toward Neo-Feudalism, and most people are still trying to play by the old rules. To understand the magnitude of this shift, we have to look past the headlines and dive into the raw data, specifically the Demographia International Housing Affordability Report for 2024 and 2025. This report uses the median multiple, a simple ratio of median house price to median household income. For most of history, a healthy, functioning economy had a ratio of 3. You earn $50,000, a house costs $150,000. Simple. But today, that math is a relic. For the first time in the report's 21-year history, they had to invent a new category. Impossibly unaffordable, defined as a multiple of 9 or higher. Hong Kong is at 14.4. Sydney is nearly 14. Vancouver, San Jose, Los Angeles, Toronto, London, they are all deep in this impossible zone. But here is the critical analyst update that the headlines miss. This rot is spreading to the boring cities. Adelaide, Manchester, or modest suburbs in Florida, markets that used to be safe havens, are now trading at 6, 7, or 8 times income. This isn't inflation, this is a decoupling. Asset prices have completely detached from local wages. In China, specifically Beijing and Shanghai, independent analysis puts these ratios between 20 and 30 times income. That is not a market. That is a mathematical impossibility for anyone who doesn't already hold wealth. We are witnessing the synchronization of a global housing crisis, where the only affordable city on the entire list was Pittsburgh, and even that is slipping away. So why did this happen? The standard answer is supply and demand, but that is a half-truth. The real answer is financialization. For the last 15 years, central banks held interest rates near 0. This forced trillions of dollars of global capital to go hunting for yield. Bonds paid nothing, savings accounts paid nothing. So that money found a new home, your neighborhood. Housing stopped being treated as shelter and started being treated as a bond with a front door. We saw the entry of massive institutional investors, Blackstone, BlackRock, and sovereign wealth funds, into the single-family rental market. Hear me clearly, national statistics will tell you these firms own only 2 or 3% of homes. That is a statistical lie used to calm you down. You have to look at the local concentration. In specific markets like Atlanta, Charlotte, or Jacksonville, institutional investors have bought up to 25% or 30% of the available inventory in a single year. They aren't buying everything, they are buying the starter homes, the exact inventory you are trying to buy. By controlling the entry-level market, they can set the floor for rents. They have industrialized the landlord business, using algorithms to maximize rent extraction in a way a mom-and-pop landlord never could. They are not building communities. They are building a rental asset class that relies on you never being able to afford to leave. Compounding this capital flood is a massive structural failure on the supply side, but not the one you usually hear about. While zoning reform is necessary, we are currently facing a lock-in effect. millions of homeowners locked in 30-year mortgages at 2% or 3% back in 2020 and 2021. They are effectively trapped. They cannot sell their home and move because they would have to trade a 3% mortgage for a 6% or 7% mortgage. This has artificially strangled the supply of existing homes. So, inventory is at record lows, which keeps prices high even though interest rates are up. It is the worst of both worlds: high cost of borrowing and high asset prices. Furthermore, look at what is being built. Developers are profit-seeking entities. They cannot make money building affordable 1,000 square foot bungalows because the cost of land and permits is too high. So, they build luxury condos and build-to-rent communities. That's right, entire neighborhoods built explicitly to be rented forever, never sold. This supply doesn't lower the price of ownership, it solidifies the rental trap. The consequences of this are not just economic, they are existential. We are watching a feudalizing of the West. When housing costs exceed 40% or 50% of income, young people do not just cut back on avocado toast, they cut back on life. We are seeing a collapse in birth rates that perfectly correlates with housing unaffordability. If you cannot secure a nest, you do not build a family. This creates a lost generation who are delaying marriage and children into their late 30s or 40s, or opting out entirely. This is a death spiral for the broader economy. An economy relies on household formation to drive demand for appliances, services, and construction. By turning housing into a luxury good, we are cannibalizing the future labor force and the future consumer base just to protect the asset prices of the baby boomers and corporate landlords today. It is an intergenerational wealth transfer of massive proportions. Naturally, governments are panicking, but their policies are often a mirage. You see announcements like Canada's ban on foreign buyers, or the proposed US Act to ban hedge funds from owning single-family homes. These are politically popular, but they are often too little, too late. Subsidies, like first-time homebuyer grants, are actually part of the problem. If you give every buyer $20,000, you just raise the price of every home by $20,000. You cannot solve a supply and structural crisis by pumping more cash into the demand side. New Zealand is one of the few places trying aggressive upzoning, forcing cities to allow more density. It's working slowly, but it takes decades to undo 50 years of bad policy. Do not expect a government rescue program to save you. The incentives for politicians are to keep home prices high because homeowners are voters, and homeowners love seeing their wealth go up. This reality leaves you with a difficult question. What is your move in a world that is impossibly unaffordable? First, abandon the stigma of renting if the math works in your favor. In many of these impossible cities, the cost to buy is now double the cost to rent. If you can rent for significantly less than a mortgage, do it, but you must aggressively invest the difference. Do not spend it. You need to build a liquid asset column that can rival a homeowner's equity. Second, consider Geo-Arbitrage. If your job allows remote work, you are the only group with an escape hatch. Move capital from a high-ratio city to a low-ratio market. The Pittsburghs, the Clevelands, or even international markets where the ratio is still under 5. You cannot win a game that is rigged against you. Sometimes the only winning move is to change the playing field. Finally, watch the commercial real estate sector. This is the next domino. As office values crash, banks will tighten lending even further, which could freeze new housing construction. We are in for a volatile few years. The dream of the white picket fence isn't just dying, it's being foreclosed on. Acknowledge that the old contract is broken so you can write a new one for yourself. If you found this analysis valuable, subscribe. We don't just report the news here, we dissect the systems behind it. I'll see you in the next deep dive.